Hello again. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy, and today's class is on the business of computer repair. So now you've gone through this track, you've learned how to repair laptop computers, you've learned how to repair desktop computers, install operating systems, use basic troubleshooting tools, the whole 9 yards. So the question is, how do you turn this into money? How do you turn this into something profitable? Well, this is the subject area that I get into the most trouble with the fans, my fans and fans of this site, because as you all know, I'm hurrah, hurrah, hurrah on the IT industry and being an IT, a technology consultant, but I'm pretty on the concept of the future of the computer repair industry. So maybe in this class I can explain that a little bit. So computer repair, when we talk about different businesses within the technology industry, I've talked about before that they require certain resources, customers or clients act in a certain way. So although all these businesses reside under the umbrella of IT or the umbrella of technology, they really are separate businesses. You sell websites and you need different resources to sell websites than you need for computer repair, than you need for data recovery, than you need for digital surveillance systems. These different aspects of our profession just require different things. So basically, with computer repair, what we're talking about is we're talking about hardware repair. So we're talking about power supplies that go out, CPUs that burn out, motherboards that die, LCD screens that die, etc. We're talking about virus problems. So, somebody comes in and they're getting 1 million pop-ups, something like that. And we're talking about basic configurations. People's printers don't work, people's printer faxes don't work, etc. The computer repair business is slightly different. It's not the exact same thing that you'll do for data recovery business or that you'll do for the networking business. So at the end of our networking track, we'll talk about the networking business. Computer repair focuses around the hardware, the configurations, those type of things. Again, power supplies, motherboards, viruses, printers not working, that type of stuff. So a few years ago, this aspect of the umbrella was money. It was bank. It was really easy money. It was just printing money for not having to know a lot. So when I started the consultancy, when I went out on my own, this was back in the days of Windows XP Service Pack 1, when all this spyware was just hammering computers day in, day out. People needed the computers repaired, and there weren't very good ways to protect computers. So it was a really good thing from a business aspect, because you would come to me, I would tune up your computer for $100 to $200. The virus software wasn't good enough to catch most of the spyware. The operating systems themselves had so many holes in them that they just got inundated with spyware. So you would take your computer home, and in 3 months you would bring it back to me because you had virus problems again. And legitimately, there was not a whole hell of a lot I could do about that, except fix your computer and make some more money. Well, as time has gone by, these virus issues are no longer the same problem that they used to be. Now, I know what you're about to say. You're going to say, Eli, Windows 7 gets viruses, Vista gets viruses. There's still people out there with viruses. And you are absolutely correct. But remember, business is about profit, and many times profit is about numbers. It's about the amount of people with viruses. So, yes, can Windows 7 get a virus? Yes. Will people need Windows 7 computers to be repaired? Yes. Is it anywhere near the number that were around even 3 or 4 years ago? No. So people with Windows 7 computers legitimately have computers that don't blue screen of death nearly as frequently as XP or Windows 98 or any of those did. They don't get viruses the same way. They simply don't have the same number of problems. So if they're, before, if you had 100 people that needed their computer fixed, that's a lot of money. Well, now if you have 10 people that need their computer fixed, they still need their computer fixed, but is that enough money for you to really be focused on this business? The next thing we go into with the computer hardware repair, why the business, it's still trucking along, but not as good as it used to be, is because the price of computers has come down tremendously. Back in 2004, it was nothing to spend $1,000 on a desktop computer. Desktop computers genuinely cost about $1,000. If you got a laptop computer, again, it was genuinely about $1,000 or $1,300. So when customers paid that much money for their desktop or laptop computer, they were willing to pay $200, $300, $400, maybe even $500 to have their computer repaired. Well, true story. We are about to start live in-person classes here at Everyman IT. I went to Best Buy the other day to look for laptop computers, like real computers, not netbook computers, real laptop computers to use for my computer lab. So, I need a basic computer, but that'll be pretty fast and that can do everything that needs to get done. I can get a Windows 7 laptop computer with 2 gigs of RAM for $329 from Best Buy right now. So this is how far the prices have come down. So people before were, used to spend $1,100, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 on their laptop computers. Therefore, they're willing to spend money to repair their computers. You can get an actual, real, legitimate laptop from Best Buy. This isn't Newegg.com. This isn't Amazon.com. This isn't some weird, God knows where the hell you're getting it from. From Best Buy, I can walk the mile down to the store and buy 5 of these things for $329. And so if people only spend $329 or $400 or maybe even $500 on their computer, they are much less likely to want to spend any money to get it repaired. It's just how it is. I mean, think about it yourself. If you spend $400 on something, are you really going to spend $200 or $300 to get it fixed? Probably not. Then the additional part that always comes with this, and this goes back to the numbers for the computer repair business game, is that people are not willing to spend a lot of money simply getting their computers repaired. They will spend a crap load of money getting a network installed. They will spend a crap load of money on getting a website built. They'll spend a crap load of money on a lot of the other subjects that we talk about. Simply cleaning their computers of viruses, they're not willing to spend that amount of money. Even if they should, even if intellectually they should spend the amount of money, for some reason people just don't want to do it. I had clients of mine that when they became my new client, I would be fixing their one computer, and they would talk about some computer they had in the closet. It would be I've seen this many times. It would be an almost brand new computer that they had for a month or two. It crashed, and then, they just never really wanted to get around to repairing it. But since I was fixing their other computer anyway, you might as well fix this one too, since we'll get a little discount since you're already here. Realistically, people just don't want to spend a lot of money repairing their computers. The max labor that you're going to get for repairing a computer is about $200. That's just about all anybody really wants to spend on the actual labor of repairing computers. And like I say, even now, that amount is dwindling. One of my old employees that went off and became a consultant, we were talking about this the other day, where somebody called him on the phone, left a message that said, "My computer has a virus, I'd like you to come and fix it." He was a little busy that day. It took him 3 hours to call this woman back, and by the time he had called her back, she said, "Oh, that's okay, I already went to Best Buy." So that's the reality of the computer repair business right at the moment. So as I say all this, you're probably getting all depressed and wondering why I am bothering with this class at all. If it's so miserable, why talk about the business of computer repair? There's 2 reasons that you need to consider the business of computer repair. Now, the first reason, as I know by our fans, we have a lot of new people out there trying to get into the computer industry. Well, the great thing with this computer repair business is you don't need a lot to get into it. All you need is a Phillips head screwdriver, and really that's it. Phillips head screwdriver, maybe a can of air, and that's all you need to do to start doing computer repair. Also, almost everybody in the world right now needs computer repair. The problem is that they don't want to spend the money on it. So the issue becomes, real business people, real computer consultants, It's about the money. It's about the profit. So if there's all of this work out there, but the people don't want to spend the money to get their computers fixed, I don't care. I'm not going to work on their computers. Nobody that I really hang out with wants to work on these computers because the customers simply are not willing to pay enough money to make it worth our while. I'm worth more than fixing computers per hour. This is a great thing for you if you are a new person, because it means you can walk in and you can charge $25 to $50 an hour to do computer repair. People need the work done, and if you're willing to work for that little, they'll be happy to give you the work. So if you can repair their computer for $100, they will be very happy. You get money in your pocket, they get a fixed computer, and you learn how the computer industry works. One of the things that people don't understand or don't really realize is the microcosm of the computer industry is the macrocosm, or I'm not sure if that's the proper way to say it. But the skills that you learn fixing computers are the same basic skills you're going to be using deploying major networks or major websites. So the skills and the things that you learn working on $100 projects and $200 projects are going to be the same skills that transfer to $10,000 projects and $20,000 projects. The difference being is the liability for anybody on a $100 repair is a whole lot different than liability on a $10,000 project. So if you get into the computer repair business right now, you can go and you can learn how to communicate with customers. You can learn how to upsell people. You can learn how to manage the project. So, if you're looking at a little computer repair, you may not think it's a project, but it is. You take the computer from the person, so you communicate with them. You determine what the problem is. Then you may have to order parts. Then you get the part in, then you install it, then you have to give it back to the customer, then you have to bill the customer. All those things are relevant on larger projects. All those things are relevant on $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 projects. But if you do something dumb, the world's not going to end. And that's the big thing, why I would suggest that you should start, if you're looking at the IT world, getting into the IT world, start with computer repair business, because you can learn all of these techniques, but when things go wrong, because they will go wrong, you're not taking down entire networks, you're not destroying anybody's business. The worst thing you're doing is you're deleting a few baby pictures. Not a good thing, but it's not horrible. So you come in, you bill out at $25 or $50 an hour. We'll talk about the billing later. You do this work, and you will gain the skills, the real skills that are required in the larger IT technology industry. Because I'm telling you, people think it's all about Microsoft certifications and degrees and Cisco certifications and all that. The technology world is more about communication. It's about project management. It's about upselling. It's about getting client buy-in or getting boss buy-in. These are the things that will make you a very successful technology professional. The certifications and all that are nice, they are required, but those are not the aspects that are really going to make you successful. So when you get into the computer repair business, when you start doing computer repair, get into it and really learn how to do these things like communication, project management, etc. Now, the other reason you should look at the computer repair business is if you already are doing networking for people, or if you are already doing, IT support, if you're already a consultant or such. This is also just a very easy way to make a few extra dollars when you're at the client site or from your clients in general. If you're dealing with their server already, if their server physically crashes, just throwing in a new power supply is an easy way to make a little extra money. If you're doing data recovery, you can fix their computers too. Basically, this is a good side aspect to other technology businesses where you can make more money. So, if you're looking at growing your business, you may look at selling, network support. So you're going to sell support for a business's entire network. So To do that, if you have lots of businesses that you're supporting, you may need a few employees. Well, once you get up to 3 or 4 or 5 employees, it may be a realistic option to hire a single person to deal with all your computer hardware problems. So, you go to the client site, one of their computers crashed, you just take it back to the office, and then you have that one employee or even an intern fix all the hardware. That might be a profitable option. So, that was a bit long for the introduction, but basically this class is on the business of computer repair. Like I say, this used to print money. It doesn't anymore, but it can still be a very good business for specific things. As I said, if you're trying to get into the technology world, this is a great place to start. If you're already in the technology world, this is a great place, to either make a few extra bucks for yourself, or if you have an extra intern sitting around, you might as well be making a little bit of a profit off of them. So this is the business of computer repair. Give me a second, and then we'll dive into this whole thing. So the first question is, where are you going to do your computer repair business from? Everybody always, comes to me and they said, I'm going to start a computer repair business. I'm going and I'm going to find a really nice storefront. Well, that's an option. You can get a store. Again, with my viewpoint of where the computer repair industry is, I'm not so sure you can, or you should. So where can you set up your computer repair business? The obvious option is a storefront. You can do it out of a storefront. The other option is that you can do it at the client's site. So, a residential client calls up, they say, hey, my computer's no longer working, so you can go and you can work at the client's place, or you can run it out of your house. So you have those 3 options. Now, the storefront is a very powerful lure. It's a siren song that just destroys way too many new business people. Because, when you get into business, you want to feel authentic. You want to present to the world that you are a genuine business. And people think that a great way to do that is by having a storefront. So, you have big glass windows and everybody can walk by and they can see that, yes, you have a computer shop and therefore you are professional. Here's the problem. Those storefronts cost a lot of money. So here, even in Baltimore, a few years ago, when I got my first little storefront, 1,000 square feet, a nice little shopping district, that was $1,000 a month. So you get that storefront, and you're immediately going to have to start paying an $1,000 additional a month. Well, then you have your utility bills, then you have your internet connection, then you have ADT or whatever burglar alarm system. Very quickly, it starts costing a lot of money for that store. So if you're thinking about doing a store, realize it's going to cost you, all told, the turnkey, how much it costs to actually, for the building to be open. So you have a store to pay for electricity, the utilities, internet, all of that. It's probably going to cost you somewhere between $1,700 to $2,000 at a minimum every single month. So you now have to make $1,700 to $2,000 every single month. On top of that, to make a store look decent, get a little signage out front, paint the walls, get your workbenches and all that, you should budget about $5,000. At least $5,000. I mean, if you're really doing it, if you're really doing it, you should probably budget about $15,000 to $20,000. But if you want to lowball, go as cheap as possible, you're going to need $5,000. So that's a decent chunk of money already. So $2,000 and $2,000 a month, $5,000 to start, and that's just to start. Also, when you have a storefront, something that people don't think about is you now need to have hours. So when do people come by? Do they come by from 10 to 6 at night? Do they come by from noon to 8 at night? Do they come by from 9 to 9 during the day? And if you have those hours, you now need somebody to sit there and man the store. So with the business, it becomes a problem because you either have to hire an employee that's going to cost you, once you get all the benefits and all that, at least $10 an hour with the current minimum wage, or you're going to have to sit there, even if you're just staring out at the street. When I first opened the storefront, there was a lot of time of just sitting there watching people go by. And that's all you can do. You can't go out and knock on doors. You can't really do any cold calling. You can't do anything much else than just sit there and wait for people to come in. So with the storefront, you get the benefit of seeming legitimate. You look more legitimate, but there's a lot of cost and there's a lot of expense that goes into it. Now, the next way you can run your business is actually going to the person's house. So if you have a car, they call you up and you go and you work out of their house. This is a pretty decent way to do business because you don't have all that overhead. You don't have to put out $5,000 to initially build out a store, and then you don't have to spend $2,000 a month just to keep the store up and running. So if you go to people's houses, you are going to waste a lot of time driving, but that's not too bad. And you'll just fix everything when you go to their house. The only thing that the problem with this is you have to make sure that you actually bring some inventory with you. So you should have a little bag that has hard drives in it, that has CD-ROM drives in it, that has network cards, etc. Because when you get to their house, you're obviously not going to have a little supply chest right behind you. But it's a pretty decent way to do the business. A lot of people feel very comfortable with you coming to their house and fixing the computers. As long as you market yourself in pretty decent areas, you should be going to pretty decent houses. I've been to some nicer houses and some messier houses, but by and large, all the houses that I ever went to were perfectly fine. And surprisingly enough, if you cannot fix the computer at the person's house, most of the time they will let you take it and then bring it back later. Out of the 3 years, whatever, before I had employees, I may have only actually written out like 3 receipts to take people's computers. People were very comfortable. Even when I first started, I'd go to people's houses, I'd say, you have a virus, I can't fix it here, I'm going to take it with me, and they'd be like, okay, just tell me when it's done. Surprisingly, they didn't really want my business card, they didn't want a receipt that I had picked it up, they just let me take it out of the house. And it really did work okay. So going to people's houses or going to people's offices really is a decent way to do the business, and people do accept it. So you don't feel like you have to have a storefront or a professional office. You can, just work out of your house and go to wherever the client is. The last way to do it is to actually just work out of your house. So you can have people, bring the computers to your house. The benefit with this is you're not paying any extra rent or any of that. You're not going out to the client's site at all. The problem is they're actually coming to your house. So I don't know, it depends on how private you want to be. But again, when I first started the business, I had a lot of clients that were willing to do this. When I first started, way back when, I only charged $50 an hour. So to fix a computer, it was only like $100. There were a lot of people out there that were bargain shoppers. They were on a budget, so they were willing to come straight to my house and drop off the computer. So even if I hadn't had a car, they were willing to do that. So something to think about, if you're younger, you don't have a car, you don't have transportation, people are willing to drop their computers off to you. And it's really, it is legitimate. I don't know why everybody thinks they need like offices or storefronts to be legitimate. You can do fine working out of your house. So the benefit of the storefront, if you think about having a storefront, is of course you do have the storefront and you do get advertising from that. The problem is $5,000 at least to equip a store and $1,700 to $2,000 a month just to keep it up and running. Also, you're just going to be sitting there staring at people walk by unless you actually have customers. You can't go out and knock on doors, you can't do anything else. You just got to sit there and keep the hours of the store open. You can go to people's houses. So you don't have an office, they don't come to your home, you just go straight to them. Again, I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland with more per capita ghetto and projects than just about anywhere else in the country. And I swear to God, I did not have any major problems. I even went into the projects. I went into the places that the people were like, oh, Eli. I really didn't have any problems. I guess I'm a big guy, but out of years of doing it, didn't have any issues. So this is an okay thing to do. So you just go to the person's house, you try to fix the computer there. If you can't, again, most people will let you take the computer, take it home, and then bring it back. Out of years of doing this, I think I had 2 or 3 people ask for receipts. Seriously. And then finally, you can just work purely out of your house. So you don't have a car, you don't go to them, you don't have a storefront. You just say, I work out of my house. People, again, will do this. They will come to your house and they will drop off the computer. Again, this is for lower prices, so they don't want to pay Geek Squad or such. So they're going to come to you, and for $100 or $150, you'll fix the computer. Again, this is completely legitimate, and for some reason you don't have transportation or such. This really does work. I really did have a lot of clients that were willing to come to my house and drop off their computers at my house. They felt comfortable. I got paid. Their computers got fixed. So everything worked out. So when you're thinking about starting this business, I always argue, start cheap and then start paying for stuff as you make money. So I would say you should either start out of your house or start by driving to client sites. Once you've got a business going when you're pulling in $3,000 to $5,000 a month, then I would say look at a storefront. But that's where you can start your businesses from. About this, a lot of times I'm talking about virus issues. I had the real problem with this with my employees, where they would keep working on virus problems, on trying to clean a computer of these viruses, and just taking way too long to do it. If you're trying to do this commodity thing, you can only spend so long trying to clean viruses out of a computer. If it takes any longer than that, it is simply not worth trying to do. So, my employees, if they spent 5 days trying to clean viruses out of a computer, it wasn't profitable to me. I just simply didn't make any money. So you need those fail-out points where if you're going to try to clean viruses out of a computer or tune up the computer, you try A, B, C, and D. And if those things aren't working, then you need to be able to call the customer and say, I can't get these viruses out of the computer. I'm sorry. Do you want me to do a wipe and reload, or what would you like me to do next? You need the fail-out point. Or if you're having a hardware problem with the computer. With us, I mandated we only bought parts from reputable vendors, because the problem, again, with my employees and with new consultants is, let's say a motherboard dies on a 6-year-old computer. You go to your first vendor, oh, they don't have it. You go to the second vendor, they don't have it. Well, if you don't have any place to cut off where you're going to start looking for this part, you're going to spend lots and lots of time looking for this motherboard from all over the place. So you try the first place, you can't find it. Second place, you can't find it. Third place, you can't find it. And suddenly, you're spending all of this time researching, just trying to find the stupid motherboard. And it's no longer worth the time, energy, money, etc. to do so. So you need to come up, like I say, with parts. This is our first vendor we go to, this is our second vendor we go to, even this is our third vendor we go to. If those 3 vendors don't have it, we don't keep looking for these parts, because again, it's just not worth the time, the energy, etc. So that's with efficiency. Come up with these checklists, have all these screens up there so you can do up to 4 computers at once. I would not suggest that you do KVM switches. That seems like a cheap way of trying to do this. KVM switches is where you use one monitor, keyboard, and mouse to deal with 4 or 5 or 6 computers. The problem is it gets very hard to deal with, because you have to keep clicking through all these different computers, and you lose track of what computer you're working on and where it is. It's better just have 4 separate monitors entirely, so it doesn't make things confusing. Then the final thing is you need to think about how to make the overall process of doing the computer repairs more efficient. Things like if you need to do a wipe and reload, where the system has too many viruses, how are you going to install the operating system on the computer as quickly as possible? Just installing an operating system can take 3 or 4 hours. When we had the computer repair shop, we used disk imaging. Disk imaging is where we created a snapshot of everything that we wanted on the computer, and then we could deploy that snapshot to a computer in 15 minutes or 15 to 30 minutes. So it was very easy to do 4 hours worth of work in that short little time. So efficiency is a huge thing. That's what you have to remember with the computer repair business. This is not artwork. This is not the normal profession where you're putting a lot of thoughts and ideas into it. This is commodity work. You just need to chug out as many of these computers as quickly as possible. That's where you make the money out of it. So you just worry about efficiency. Now, the big way that you're going to make money through the computer repair business model is by being incredibly efficient. So the idea is the faster that you can fix these computers, the more computers you can fix at one time, the more money you can make. So again, when you're doing a website for $10,000, you just focus on that one website, and then you just make all the profit. Computer repair is much more of a commodity thing. You just got to pump through the numbers. It's not one piece of art. It's just 1,000 of basically the same old stuff. And so, as I was taught by the first computer consultant I worked with, if you bill to fix a computer for $200, well, nobody ever said that you can only fix one computer at once. So, if it takes you a few hours to fix this one $200 computer, well, if you line up 4 computers and you're fixing them all at the same time, instead of making $100 an hour, you're now making $400 per hour. Just how computer repair works, this is a very effective way to do computer repair, because a lot of the repairs that you're going to be doing, like the hardware stuff, you have to be focused. So if you're doing a power supply, you can only do the power supply, that's it. But a lot of the work that we do is the tune-up work. So, getting rid of viruses, updating the computer, etc. Well, when you do a virus scan takes an hour. When you do malware scans, they take half an hour to an hour. When you defragment the hard drive, that takes an hour. When you do the Windows updates, God help you, that takes like 8 hours. But when all of those things are happening, you don't really do a lot with the computer. So you start the updates, and then every 10 minutes you come back and you hit next. You start the virus scan, and then when it's done, you come back, you look at whatever information it gives you, and then you go on to do whatever else you're doing. There's no reason for you just to sit at a computer screen just wasting time. So you might as well fix a number of computers at the exact same time. I found out professionally that people can only deal with about 4 computers at once. So you can be simultaneously repairing approximately 4 computers at once. Now here at the Eli the Computer Guy shop, we had long workbenches, and then we had 4 monitors mounted to the wall. Here, I'll show you. The last workbench that's still around. So see, if you look into my little workshop area, you'll see that there's 4 separate monitors, there's power supplies, there's keyboards, etc. So I could very easily work on 4 computers at the exact same time. So again, you take that $100 or $200 repair, if you're doing 4 of those, that's a lot of money. And this increases your efficiency. So you work at all those computers at the same time. Now, when you do this, you're going to think about doing a couple of things. The first thing is you should come up with checklists. Just like, pilots have checklists and such. You, as a computer repair person, should have checklists. The reason is because when you're dealing with 4 computers at the exact same time, it is easy to forget what you have done or what you need to do next. So again, if you start doing computer tune-ups for people, you can just come up with a checklist and Xerox it to say what we used to have. all Windows updates are done. Antivirus is installed. Computer has been scanned for viruses, etc. You just come up with the list of things that need to be done to the computer. And just do those things. Especially, like I said, when you're dealing with 4 computers, it's really easy to forget one of those systems, to forget that you've done updates or you haven't done updates. So you just come up, you line up all your computers, you come up with a checklist, and you do the work as need be. The next thing is, with checklists, like I talked about in the data recovery, the business for data recovery, is you need fail-out points for those checklists for where you're going to say you can't do anymore, or it's not worth your time or money to do anymore. So when I talk So we've talked about where you're actually going to do your business from, and we've talked about efficiency. Again, this is commodity work. You just got to push out as many of these stupid little things as possible. So we get to the money aspect. We get to billing. So the first thing to remember with billing for computer repair is that your customers are going to prefer flat rates. Doing hourly rates for PC repair, laptop repair, is just a no-go. This is just not something that the average client likes. They like to know exactly how much it's going to cost. So if they come in and they need a stick of RAM, you can just tell them it'll be $50 to install a stick of RAM. If they need a tune-up, you tell them it's $150 to do a tune-up. You know, when I ran the shop for inside work, it started at $49. So simple repairs were $49. A little more complicated repairs were $99, and then tune-ups and wipe and reloads were $199. So we basically had 3 prices. So if they came in, they were always going to pay those rates for labor. People really do feel more comfortable with this. You know, one of the people that I know that still runs a computer repair shop, his flat rate for all computer repairs is $99. So if you know anything about computer repair, there's a huge, that covers a lot of stuff. So if you need a stick of RAM installed into your computer, it will cost you $99. Holy crap. But if you need a whole wipe and reload, etc., it'll also cost you $99. What he has found is that a single flat rate is just a whole lot easier to deal with his customers. So, you know, whether people have problems with their RAM or whether people need a wipe and reload, they just pay that one flat rate. I would argue for a few different rates. Like I said, I did 50, 100, 200, but you'll have to look at your own client base and see what you should charge. The first thing, though, is no matter what you do, the client always has to pay. They always have to pay something. Even if they walk in the door, you take a look at their computer, and you find out it's not worth repairing, they still need to pay a minimum fee. Whether you charge them $25 or $50, I don't care, but they do need to get charged a minimum fee. What you don't realize, I didn't realize, you know, for when I started the computer repair, the actual shop, you know, not when I was a consultant, when I had the store, I didn't want clients to be scared that we were going to rip them off. So we had free diagnostics. The problem is, people really do abuse this. You know, we would have people come in and we do the diagnostic and they'd be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to take it home and repair it myself. You're like, what? Excuse me? Or if they didn't pay a deposit when they came in, we would fix the computer and then they would never show up to get it. Or they would come back and they would start bitching at us saying that we needed to undo the work that we did because they didn't have money to pay for the full repair. As surprising as this may sound, you need to have your clients pay something to prove that they actually are interested in the repair and have enough money to pay for the repair. Again, I mean, you know, we had a lot of people that would come in and they would take all of our time and energy and then not leave their computer. You know, it would be a $100 repair. We would say, you know, this is an easy $100 repair. And then they'd be like, well, no. or like I say, we would fix their computer, and then they would say they didn't have the money to actually come pick it up. These are real problems. So the first thing, or the second thing, is you have to have an absolute minimum charge for your services. So if you're dealing with a storefront, so if you have a store or a house and they come to you, it needs to be a minimum of $25 to $50. If you go to them, it should be higher than that because you are actually going to their house. Again, there were sometimes I would go to people's houses. I would be there 2 minutes to tell them, your monitor died. I had that. I charged $99 at the time to go to people's houses. Your monitor died, and they paid $99, and they went out and bought a new monitor, even though I was there 1 or 2 minutes and realized that. Because you have to make money. Again, a lot of people, I don't want to hurt the client's pocketbook, but they need to pay you money so that you get a profit, and again, that they don't take advantage of you. Now, whatever rate you set on computer repair, once you set the rate, what you should also realize is there is a second place where you make money. So you make money off the labor charge. So $50, $100, $200, whatever. The next place you make money is by selling hardware or reselling hardware. So when they come to you or you go to them and you find out that they need more RAM, you don't just go to Best Buy and charge them whatever Best Buy charges. Well, you do charge it. You go to Newegg.com, you get parts, you get some hard drives, you get CD drives, you get operating system disks, and then you sell that to them for a profit. So if their hard drive died and they needed a new hard drive, well, you charge them $200 for a wipe and reload, and you charge them $150 for a hard drive. So that's $350, let's say, in repairs. They say, okay, now not only are you making the $200 off the labor, but you're also making $75 or so off of the hard drive itself. This is a very easy way to add in additional profit. So whether it's hard drives, CD drives, Office CDs, etc., you can purchase them online and then you can resell them, and that increases your profit margin. This is a huge part of the computer repair business, is the whole upselling. So they come in. Would you like an extra backup system with that? Installing a little backup system onto a computer can be an extra $100 in profit once you add in the additional markup. So with billing for computer repair, what you have to realize is customers want fixed prices. So my fixed prices for residential customers back when I started, before I had the store, it was $99 for up to 2 hours repair, and then $199 if I had to take the computer from their house. So if I came to you and I could fix the computer within 2 hours, it was $99. If I took it and brought it home, it was $199. So that was me going to their houses before I had a store, before I had an office, any of that. When I had a storefront, then we had 3 prices. We had $49 minimum. So, if you come in and you needed RAM installed, or you needed a network card installed, that was $49. Complicated repairs were $99. This is where just some wacky stuff was going on. That usually required anywhere between half an hour to 2 hours worth of work. And then the more complicated, the wipe and reloads, that kind of thing, were $199. So there were these 3 prices. If a customer came in, they knew what they were going to pay, and they really were comfortable with that. They were fine with that. It makes them feel better. Like I say, I have the one friend now who has a business. He charges $99 for everything. So if you need RAM installed, he charges you $99. If you need a complete wipe and reload, he charges $99. It's a little steep for some things for me, but it's working for him. So the flat rate really matters. The next thing is always bill them something. If you go to their house, you always bill whatever your minimum rate was. So if I went to the person's house, like I said, I charged $99 for up to 2 hours. If I was there for 2 minutes, I still charge them $99. If they come to your store or to your home, like I say, come up with some minimum rate, $25, $50, whatever. The two reasons for this is that they prove that they're serious, because I swear to God, I am not joking. I saw this so many times. People would bring in their computers for diagnostics, and then, well, yeah, maybe I'll get it fixed after you spent the time and energy diagnosing the darn computer. So they need to give you money to prove that they're actually serious about doing this. And then two, again, it sounds a little weird, but it's true, they need to prove that they have money for the repair work. You do not know how many people dropped off computers to us that did not have money to pick them up at the end. You know, we would tell them what it would cost. So we'd say, we think this is going to be a $200 repair. They say, okay, fix it. We would come back and we'd say, hey, guess what? It was only $150. We saved you money. And then they still didn't have the $150. It's true. So that's billing. I take this advice seriously, that this comes from the real world. So one of the next subjects we need to talk about is building computers. So you're going to get into the computer repair business, and so of course you're going to build computers for your clients, because that's lots of money. No, don't do it. Don't just don't do it. Like I say, at this point in time, there's not much profit margin in building custom computers. Unless they're really super custom computers, there's just not a lot of profit margin in it. Like I say, I can buy real laptops now for $330 at Best Buy. The problem that you're going to run into is, if you build computers for people, is now you have to deal with warranty issues. And man, these hardware parts, you know, from these Chinese manufacturers really are not what they used to be. You know, by the end, we just had a miserable time of just, you know, getting parts that are dead on arrival. So when you can charge $400 or $500 to build a computer, you have enough margin in there to deal with bad parts that come to you. Well, if you can only charge an extra $100 or maybe $200 at most to build a computer, there's not enough margin in there to deal with bad parts. You know, if you buy a hard drive for $100 and it comes to you bad, well, now you're going to have to send it back. You're losing money on shipping. It's just not worth it. By and large, it's best now just to point people to Dell or HP or Lenovo and have them buy their computers from there. There's two benefits to this. One is people will pay to help you, or for you to help them spec out their computer. So if they want this custom computer, we used to charge people anywhere between $50 to $100 to sit in front of a computer at our store and walk them through buying a computer from Dell. Why? Because they wanted the knowledge and the advice to make sure they got what they needed. And so they were willing to pay for that. The good part with us is then we had no liability on this thing. They were buying the computer from Dell. If it comes from Dell and it's bad, we say, oh, we're so sorry, but it's Dell, it's not us. It's just not worth, like I say, building computers anymore. In the old days, I mean, you can make $400 to $500 to $1,000 per computer building computers. And again, like I say, warranties were worthwhile, you know, margins for parts being bad were worthwhile. But now it's just not worth the time and energy, because if that computer dies, they're going to come back to you. That's just more, it's just a pain in the butt. As inexpensive as things are now, as computers are now, point people again to Dell or HP or Lenovo. If you want to make money off of it, you know, we had clients, I'm not joking, they would pay us to spec out their computer. So they would come in, they would sit down at the computer with us, and they would pay us $50 to $100 simply to help them buy the computer from Dell. That is a much better way of doing things than building computers for them. So hopefully I've dissuaded you from building computers for your clients, because like I say, it seems like a good idea. It used to be a really great idea. Now it's just a little rabbit hole to hell. It's not worth it. I swear to God, you can make $100 upselling or you know, speccing out a Dell computer. Why deal with warranty and all that? So hopefully, if you've gotten comfortable with that idea, the next thing to realize is that you can't do everything yourself, and it's not profitable to do everything yourself or to try to do everything yourself. So when you get into the business, you're just going to try to do everything, try to get money from anybody that will pay you. Again, with computer repair business, this is a very commodity type thing. You kind of just focus on what you focus on and just rip through and try to do as many of those repairs as possible. So with this, you really should try to create partnerships with other local companies for work that you cannot do. So again, if you're starting out in the computer business, so you decided to start doing computer repairs, right now you may not be able to do web design. Well, if you go to a local web design person and say, hey, if I have clients that come to me that do web design, can I send them to you? They will say, hey, we will be happy to send you, if you send us your web design clients, we'll be happy to send you our computer repair clients. This works out really well because some people, they just try to do everything. The problem is when you try to do everything, you don't do anything good. You're just running around trying to make money from all these different things. And your business really isn't going to be successful. You really need to focus on what you're doing. So like I say, if you're doing computer repair, if you're doing laptop repair, you really focus on this core. So, when people come to you for other things, the option you then have is either to refuse to do it outright or to try to send them to other people. And really sending those people to other people will help you, professionally and your business. We had partnerships with broadband providers. We had a partnership with Mac repair people, etc. So we sent them work. They then sent us work. And it really was profitable. So the main thing, like I say, after you decide not to build computers for your clients, is to realize that you can't do everything yourself. So if there are things that are outside of your purview, outside of what you want to provide to your customers, you need to try to go out and find local businesses that provide those services so that you can come up with a business relationship. Like I said, back when I first opened the computer store, we did not fix Macs whatsoever. So I contacted one of the local Mac people and I said, if we send you Mac repair work, will you send us computer repair work? And it was great. We got at least one client a week from this guy. We weren't fixing Macs anyway, but people would come to us and go, oh, do you fix Macs? So we could have just let it go and gotten no benefit to it, or we suggested that they go see our partner, and he did vice versa. So you can't do everything, so come up with partnerships. Talk to other businesses that do these different things that you can't do. So when customers come in and ask for those services, you can point them to your partner's direction, and vice versa. Now, the next thing we should go into is how to limit your liability. So you're dealing with people's computers, you're dealing with people's data and such. So how do you prevent things from going even worse once they've gone bad? Because again, you are going to wipe out hard drives. There are going to be problems. That's just part of our profession. Well, the main thing that you need to do is you need to come up with a little contract and have everybody who you fix their computer sign off on that contract. Basically, in the contract, you should have things like you are not responsible for their data. CompUSA used to have that. Every time you dropped off, they said, we are not responsible for your data. The reason you do this is because if their data gets lost, while you're doing the repairs, then they can't come back and give you any problems because you can show them the contract that they signed. That you are not responsible for data. The next thing is that payment is due at time of service. I don't know why it is. There are a lot of people that think that you will bill them, and that you'll just send them a bill and they can just send you a check, but they can pick up their computer first. You never want to do that. We'll talk about that in a minute. You want them to pay for the computer at time of service. It's people, lose bills, or they don't send the money in. It's just a pain in the butt. So in the contract, it should be that the payment is due at time of service. The next thing is that you need to set a time frame for how long you will keep somebody's computer before you dispose of it or sell of it. So again, with our business, I didn't think about this. I wasn't too worried about it because I had a lot of storage space. So, people could come back for their computers whenever they like. The problem is we then started getting people coming back 11 months after they dropped off their computer. I swear to God, I'm not joking. 11 months after they dropped off their computer, it took them to come back. So in your contract, you need to say, 30 days from time of completion or 60 days from time of completion, your computer will be sold. So you put all of this just into a little form letter, a little form contract, and then have them sign it. Having them sign it does two things. One, again, just like making them pay something up front for repair work, it makes sure that they are serious, that they actually are going through the thought process, that they're looking and saying, my data won't be necessarily saved, I have to pick this thing up, etc. Because a lot of times you can talk to people and they don't hear what you're saying. So you can say you have to pick this up in 30 days, your data won't be saved, etc. But it doesn't sink into their head. For some reason they'll come back and go, oh, you never said that. So by having them sign the little contract, it shows that they have read that. And then, finally, hopefully it should never come to that, but legally, if they ever try to take you to court, then you have that little signed piece of paper to say that they did sign off on all that. So this is something that you should have. A lot of people feel uncomfortable with this, like uncomfortable giving clients a little piece of paper to sign. Just give it to them. It will make your life so much easier if you have this piece of paper that they've signed. Again, you're not responsible for the data. Payment is due at time of work or at time of pickup, and a time limit for how long you keep their computers. I would say keep it to about 30 days. If they don't pick up their computer after 30 days, sell the thing. So that's what you need. Again, not only just the legal liability, but just having people sign that piece of paper really just changes the dynamic and makes them more serious about the business transaction. So now we've talked about contracts. The final subject we need to talk about is just the common mistakes that people make when they get into the computer repair business. Now the first thing, as I talked about before, and I've talked about, like I say, in the data recovery class, is coming up with checklists and coming out with fail-out points for when you're doing work on computers. So coming up with a hard and fast set of rules that states, if I've tried this, and I've tried this, and I've tried this, and it hasn't fixed the problem, then I'm killing this work order. I cannot do this work. Again, way too many technicians try to spend way too much time trying to fix problems that they're never going to be able to fix. And also that it's not worth their time to fix. If you're only charging somebody $100 for a PC tune-up, for a computer tune-up, you can't spend 5 days trying to fix the computer. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. If you're charging $100 to tune up a computer, that means you can only spend 3 or 4 hours on that computer. Period. At the most, that's all you can spend. So come up with the checklist, come out with fail-out points, and stick by them. Again, like I say, if a motherboard dies or a part in a computer dies, go to your preferred vendor, then go to your second vendor, maybe go to your third vendor, but don't just keep searching for the part forever. It's not going to work. You can spend hours and hours researching, trying to find a part, and again, it's just not worth the time and energy. If the part is that hard to find, then they need to buy a new computer. I mean, if it's that difficult to find a part for a computer, then except in the most extreme circumstances, it's not worth going on that little rabbit hole to hell. The next thing is communication. You need to really communicate with the client to make sure they understand what's going on and to make sure that they feel comfortable. This is most important if they drop the computer off at your store. So if you have a place, whether your home or the store, or if you pick up their computer and they bring it to your house, talk to your client every day so that they know what's going on. When we had the computer repair shop, we had 2 rules on communication. The first was while the computer was on the wait list, because we had a big wait list, while it was on the wait list, every 72 hours the client needed to be called to be told that it was still on the wait list and that we hadn't forgotten about them. Once the computer went on the workbench, then the person needed to be called every day to tell them what the process was. The reason is because this makes people feel more comfortable. If they don't hear from you, they don't know if the computer got lost in the mess, they don't know if you're screwing around. They start getting worried about all this weird stuff. Even if you're doing everything A-OK perfectly, they don't know that, and they start coming up with all these stories in their heads about all these possible scenarios about what's going on with their computer. You know, they start thinking, oh, I bet he hasn't even looked at that yet, or I bet nothing's happened with my computer, or oh, he's just scamming me. Well, if you communicate with the person regularly, then they feel comfortable. Every 72 hours, while the computer was in the wait list, they would be called and said, I am sorry, your computer still is on the wait list, but you know, it's number 5 or it's number 4. Then when the computer is on the bench, you know, you just call them and you say, so the computer was on the bench today. You know, I tried to do these antivirus scans, but they haven't worked how I thought they were going to work. Tomorrow I'm going to try this, this, and this. If that doesn't work, then we need to do a wipe and reload. This, tells them the progress is happening, but then also gives them a heads up that things might be worse than expected. So if they thought it was going to be a $100 repair, and you told them it was going to be a $100 repair, then in that communication you can say, well, this might turn into the $200 repair. Then when you call them on day 2 and say, yes, this is going to be a wipe and reload, this is a $200 repair, they feel more comfortable with it. So, I mean, communication is a really, really big part of this industry. I mean, it is, like I say, people think it's about certifications, people think this industry is about degrees, all of that. Really, honestly, communication is the #1 skill you should have if you want to be in this industry. The better you can communicate, the better you will do in technology. Seriously. I would rather have a really good communicator as an employee than an MCSE. You know, if I was given the option, if I had 2 professionals, somewhere around the same quality, and one had a whole crapload of certifications, and one was a good communicator, I would pick the communicator every time, because communication is just a key to everything in the technology business. So communication is a huge thing. Again, like I say, I with employees and other consultants, for some reason people feel scared about calling people up and talking to them for some reason, but talking to them is what makes them feel comfortable. If they just drop the computer off at your store and then they don't hear from you for 5 or 6 days or 2 weeks, they really start getting a bad impression. So whether or not you're doing things good or bad, they start getting the idea that you're doing things bad. So communicate with them. And then the final thing, as I always say, is remember, under promise, over deliver. If somebody brings a computer and you're unsure about whether or not you're going to be able to repair that computer, side on the side of caution. You know, just, I think I can fix this computer, but oh, this looks like it might be difficult. I might not be able to. You know, again, I saw this with my employees. You know, somebody brought in a really bad virus problem. You know, the computer is infested with viruses. And then you know, they would tell the person, well, we'll probably have to do a wipe and reload. Oh no, you can't do a wipe and reload. I have all this stuff. And so my employee would get sucked into the, okay, we're gonna fix the viruses. Well, no, they were not going to fix the viruses. I knew they were not going to fix the viruses. They knew they weren't going to fix the viruses. But because the client used that emotional leverage on them, they then said they would fix the viruses, which only makes everything so much worse when they have to call back 3 days later and say, we cannot fix the viruses, we have to do a wipe and reload. And then the client says, but you said you could fix the viruses. It's just bad. So under promise, over deliver, always. So the big thing, the common mistakes that are made with the computer repair industry is come up with checklists. So you have the checklist of what you do to the computer, and then have the fail out points. So if this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this is what happens next. I mean, with the repair, like I say, with viruses or such, with the repair, or again with trying to find hardware, you have the good vendor, the second vendor, the vendor, and then people you don't want to deal with. Don't continuously keep searching for parts. If you can't find the part you need from the first or second vendor, just call the customer up and tell them you can't fix the problem. Then again, communication. Communication is the number one skill for this business. The better you can communicate, the better you're going to do, and it is that simple. I would rather have a communicator than an MCSE. I'd rather have a communicator than a CCIE. And if you know what a CCIE, that's a hell of a thing. I'd rather have somebody that can communicate to my customers than somebody with all these fancy certifications. And then finally, always, 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 under-promise, over-deliver. Under-promise, over-deliver. Under-promise, over-deliver. I don't care how much emotional pressure your client puts on you. Don't let them win. If you don't think you can fix the virus problem, for Christ's sakes, don't say that you can. They bring in the computer, it's infested with viruses, you go, I will try a couple of things, but it's probably going to need a wipe and reload. I don't care what they say. I don't care if it's a grandma. I don't care if it's some crippled, sad, lonely person. I don't care. Don't say that you can do something that you're not going to be able to do. Always be conservative. Always side with caution. Because like I say, if you do better than you tell them, then you're a hero. If you do worse than you tell them, then you're a bastard. And it really does come out that way. So in the beginning, always set their expectations as low as possible, and then hopefully you will do better than them. If you just do what their expectations were, well, then that's how it goes. And those are the common missteps with the computer repair business. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is something that you're probably going to ignore. But as like the grand guru of computer repair, I've got to tell this to you and hope that at some point it sticks. Some point. Your parts. We need to talk about parts. You need to buy high quality, brand name, new parts for your clients. So if they have a hard drive that goes out, you need to go out and buy a Western Digital hard drive, not some weird Chinese knockoff. If their motherboard goes out, you need to buy, a ASUS or Gigabit motherboard, not some, crappy little $20 thing. This is very, 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 very important, because remember, this business is about efficiency. Part of efficiency is that when you make a repair, you never have to worry about it again. Again, when you're first starting off, especially with recession, you're going to try to be cheap on things. So you're going to try to buy low quality. I can buy this video card for $20. Well, the reason these parts are cheaper is because the quality control is nowhere near as good as for the major manufacturers. So you're going to get parts that are bad on arrival. You're going to get parts that fail 1 or 2 months after you install them in the system. And then you are going to be the one that takes a hit to your reputation. The client isn't going to go, this weird Chinese knockoff part manufacturer is the problem. They're going to say, you installed that weird Chinese knockoff part, and therefore they don't like you anymore. So, the price of all this hardware has come down so dramatically. There's not even a reason to do it anymore. And even when there was a reason, you just shouldn't do it. Always just buy high quality parts. It will save you time, energy, and money in the long run. If you're worried about the customers, if you're worried that, they're not going to want to spend the money on an ASUS motherboard or a Western Digital hard drive, here's the thing. Instead of learning to buy lower quality parts, learn how to sell better. I could sell all my clients on high quality parts because I trusted them, I knew they were better, and I knew it was better for the customer in the long run. So work on that, work on your sales spiel. So if you're worried that they're not going to want to spend $100 on a hard drive, like I say, just learn to sell better. The other thing is don't buy your parts on eBay. And I know probably all you're going to ignore this. All you's going to ignore this. And everybody always wants to ignore me. I don't know why. Like I say, in 1 year alone, we did 1,800 work orders. There's a reason why I did not allow my people to buy anything on eBay. Is because most of the crap you get on eBay, it's just wrong. It's just bad. I mean, these refurbished parts, a lot of times that you buy, weren't refurbished. They weren't quality controlled. They were simply ripped out of computers and they're shipped to you. So you buy the part on eBay, you get it, and then it's dead on arrival because, hey, guess what? When you take the motherboard out of a dead computer, it may just possibly have been the motherboard that was dead. Seriously, this is what happens in the real world when you buy computer parts on eBay. Or what we saw a lot was people didn't even fact check their parts. So we would order a Dell XYZ motherboard, and then we'd get a Gateway motherboard. Seriously, I mean this is how bad the parts dealers are on eBay. So don't buy any of your parts on eBay. It is not worth it. We saw things since we did laptop repairs where we would buy the LCD screen on eBay and then come to find out that the LCD screen didn't come with this stupid little cable. And then we go, okay, well, how much is that stupid cable gonna cost? $10. Well, then you find out that the only way you can buy the cable is if you buy the entire monitor with it. And so the eBay person just sold us the LCD monitor. They didn't sell us the cable. It was just a nightmare. So don't buy parts on eBay. I swear, I know you're going to ignore me. But I'll tell it to you anyway. And then finally, with used parts, again, it's just not worth it. Don't put used. I know you've got a whole stack of used parts somewhere. Go to the flea market, sell them for $5 a piece, or give them to a kid to play with. Don't install those into computers because, again, it goes back to your reputation on the line. The person who paid you is not going to be, not going to say, oh, it's a used parts problem. They're going to say, oh, that jackass who installed the used part obviously was a very, very bad tech. So the main thing with parts, I'll tell you this, don't ignore me. Please, always buy high quality, name brand parts. Western Digital, Kingston, Asus, Gigabit, etc. Don't buy the Chinese knockoffs. Even when it was worth it, it wasn't worth it. Swear to God, been doing this business for a while. Don't do eBay. Don't do eBay. Like I say, those refurbished parts normally just get ripped out of computers. They're not checked whatsoever. Also, like I said, you don't know who you're really dealing with. We got a lot of things where we ordered a specific Dell motherboard, and we got a Gateway motherboard, IBM motherboard, etc. It just was not worth it. And then finally, used parts. Again, I know you're trying to save money. Again, just don't do it because, if there's any problems, it takes a hit to your reputation. The client is not going to blame eBay. The client is not going to blame some weird Chinese company. They're going to blame you. So just don't do it. Always use high quality parts from known manufacturers and known vendors. So that's really about all there is to it for the business of computer repair. Again, like I said in the beginning, this computer repair business had a wonderful past. It has an adequate now. Doesn't have a great future. And I'm telling you that honestly because I don't want you to invest a lot in a business that doesn't have any future. Web design has a future. Networking has a future. There are so many things that have great, brilliant, wonderful futures. And I don't want you to just invest money in this one single facet of the technology realm that doesn't have a future. So right now, if you're interested in getting into the computer industry or starting your own consultancy, this is a decent little business to start doing it. The reason is because you can just underprice the competition. You can charge $25 or $50 an hour or whatever, so you can get the work in, and then you can learn all these skills that will be required when you start dealing with larger projects. in all seriousness, I mean, most of the skills that are required to deploy a $20,000 solution are all sitting in what's required for a $200 repair. The main difference is the liability factor. If the $200 repair goes all to hell, it's not that bad. If the $20,000 project goes all to hell, things go all to hell. So basically what I would say is if you're looking at the computer repair business, you know, if it's mainly for people just trying to get into the business right now, to get into the technology field, or as a side aspect if you're already doing other things. You know, if you're already doing the network consulting and you want to make a little extra money, this would be fine. You know, if you're already doing data recovery, maybe this would be fine. But don't dive into this business and just pour $10,000 into it and think you're going to make a lot of money. It's just not there anymore. We talked about where you can do this business from. You know, we talked about the storefront. Again, I would highly argue against it. Most people want a storefront because they think it will make them look more legitimate and they think that it will bring in more sales. The reality is, like I say, a storefront at the end of the day is going to cost you $1,700 to $2,000 a month every single month, on top of at least $5,000 to get the store operational. That's a lot of money. And like I say, it doesn't actually make you look that much more legitimate to the people that are going to be coming to you. And the advertising value, I mean, it really depends on where you're at. Yes, we got business because we were a storefront. Did we get enough business to counteract the cost? I can't tell you on that one. You can go to people's homes and actually do the repair work there. This is a fine thing. You know, when I started, I both went to people's houses and they brought stuff to me. This works. Like I say, as long as you market in the right areas, you really don't have any problems. Again, I started this in Baltimore, Maryland. Man, if you go 4 blocks from where my store is, you're in hardcore ghetto. If you go 10 blocks that way from where my store is, you're in more hardcore ghetto. I mean, when I started this, we had like 298 murders a year. So when I say this isn't bad, going to people's houses, I'm being honest with you. You know, people generally aren't bad. So, you know, when I started this, you know, 6-7 years ago, go to people's houses, fix the computers there. I really didn't have any problems. I swear to God. Didn't have any problem. So this is an okay thing to do. Or if you don't want to have a store or you don't want to drive to them, you can have people come to your house. Again, this is how I had people bring some work to me. Is since you are inexpensive, since you're cheaper, people are willing to go to your actual house. You know, everybody's trying to save some money right now. It's the recession. People understand. Especially, that's a nice thing with this recession. Since so many people have been laid off, they're actually more accepting of these kind of things. You know, if we were during boom times, if this was, you know, everybody's making money, then they may be really suspicious that you're working out of your house. But hey, we've got 10% unemployment rate, for Christ's sakes. You know, you working out of your house isn't going to seem that strange to people. You know, everybody's having problems with money, everybody's having problems with jobs. You know, it's really not a bad thing to do. And again, if you work out of your house, then you only have to pay for one utility bill, one internet bill, one security bill, etc. Now, the main thing, as we talked about with this business, is this business, computer repair, is about efficiency. Web design is about art, and other stuff is about all this professional, you know, all that stuff. Computer repair is about efficiency. The more computers you can repair, the faster, the more money you make. So, as I showed you with my workbench, you know, we had 4 monitors lined up, we had the power strips and everything, so you could work at 4 computers at once. So instead of making $100 for 4 hours worth of work, you're making $400 an hour. This is how you make money in this business. So, you know, with that, then also make sure, like I say, come up with ways to install or do things more quickly. So installing an operating system and installing Adobe Acrobat and all that takes 3 or 4 hours. We used disk imaging so that we could put the image onto a computer in half an hour. So a computer was up and running in half an hour versus 4 hours. That's how you make money in this business. Again, we talked about billing. So billing with computer repair, People want flat rates. They want to know what they're going to pay. So when I was a computer consultant, like I say, starting out for residential clients, it was $99 for up to 2 hours worth of work, or $199 if I took it from them. So for residential clients, it was 2 rates. When I had the store, it was $49, $99, $199. You know, my one friend, like I said, he charges just $99 flat, whether it's a sticker RAM or whether it's really complicated. People like flat rates. Trying to do hourly rates on things like computer repair is just not going to work out for you. Come up with a flat rate of some sort. Always make the people pay. So again, when I went out to the person's house and I found out that they had a monitor problem, I was there 2 minutes and I charged them the $99. They always pay. If they come to your store or if they come to your house, there is a minimum deposit up front, $25, $49. This does 2 things again. It makes sure that they're serious, that they actually want work done, because you're surprised. It's surprising how many people will drop off work to be done and then not really sure if they want it done. And 2, that they have money. Again, you know, in the middle of this recession, it is surprising how many people honestly think $200 is going to show up under the pillow, you know, some night. I mean, we had so many people drop off computers to be repaired. We told them what the price was going to be. And then when it was done, they're like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. So whatever you do, charge them, like I say, $25, $49, something. And then the final thing is upselling parts. So, you know, your profit, how much money you make off the business, will come from 2 things. It'll come from your labor rate. It will also come from the profit off of parts. So, you know, buy a few things, have a couple of hard drives on hand, have some video cards, etc. When somebody, you know, when you do that $100 tune-up or whatever, you know, sell them antivirus, sell them Office, sell them something to pull up the price of that computer. So they come in, let's say they have an 80 gig hard drive. Hey, do you know we've got a terabyte hard drive back there we can put in for you. You know, that's an easy an extra $50 to $100. That's pretty easy to make. We talked about selling computers. Basically, don't. Just don't. I know, you know, during the glory days, I used to do it. You know, we all built computers and sold these custom computers. It's not worth it anymore. $500 profit was worth it. $300 profit was borderline. $100 or $200 per computer is just not worth it. Because remember, you're going to get parts that are dead on arrival. You're going to have to start dealing with warranty issues. It's just not worth it. You can actually charge people to sit down and spec out computers on Dell, and they will be happy for that. And then if they have a problem, it's Dell's fault. It's not your fault. So that is what I would suggest you do. Don't build computers. You know, have consultation appointments where you spec out whatever computer that they want, and then they order it. So it's all on them. You know, if something goes wrong, I mean, all you did was help them spec out what they wanted. The next thing was to limit your liability as much as possible by having your customers or clients sign little contracts. On the contract, put whatever you think is necessary. I would say, you know, your data, say, you know, data is not your responsibility. If data gets lost, they're screwed. Put payment is due on time of service. Again, people think they're going to get billed for some reason. No. Always get the money right then and there. When you're done with the work, get the money. And then a time limit. So if they dropped off their computer, you know, 30 days, 60 days, relatively short. I wouldn't go any more than 90 days on. They have to pick up their computer or it gets sold. Because again, oh my golly, you know, we had people waiting up to 11 months to pick up their computer. And that's just wasting a lot of time. So that in a nutshell is the computer repair business. You know, remember, this is one aspect of information technology. This is one aspect of everything that's going on right now. It's a good way to get into the technology business. It's a good way to make it a few extra dollars. Please, please, please don't invest a lot of money into this. If you're getting into this, understand, get into this now with the idea of learning the skills that will be required for moving on to bigger and better things, you know, whatever else it is that you want to do. It had a glory day, had a wonderful glory day, but that glory day is gone, and I'm just being honest with you on that. So with this information, I hope you know it now, understand a lot. You know, a lot of the information I gave to you was things that I learned the hard way. Like I say with the parts, you know, make sure you buy high quality parts and you don't buy from eBay. The reason I say that is not because I had anything against eBay. It was just after getting screwed 20 times, I have something against eBay. And that's like I say, with a suggestion on the computer repair business is not the place to make a lot of money. Please understand, like I say, a lot of people dismiss me on this. You know, you're on this website now to learn, and I'm trying to tell you, I have 12 years experience in the IT field, you know, doing the business. This isn't something I just pulled out of my butt one day. I have seen this industry. I started working in this industry on Windows 95. I've seen where it's been. I've seen where it's going. I've seen the poor, desolate souls that invested into dying technologies and then just got crushed because of it. So that's with the computer repair business. It's a good place to start right now for another year or two. You can make some money. You can get into the industry. Good place to make a few extra bucks, but don't invest a lot into this. It's just not worth it. So, well, with that kind of ending, this class was the business of computer repair. As you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy, and I look forward to seeing you at the next class.